we got Wednesday and Thursday here at WLS, and we're going to be backing off of it for the week. We're going to take Friday off and enjoy Fourth of July weekend. That's our plan here. Take Friday and Saturday off here at WLS and let our crews recover a little bit from the heat these 4 days this week. They're doing a great job. We appreciate everything they do and uh, out in that heat and encouraging breaks. I know this morning we got started early. I think around 6:30, 6:45. Rolling out pretty good. So trying to get a little jump on the heat. I'm not going to say beat the heat because you're not going to beat the heat because it's no doubt pretty toasty out there. But certainly can get a little jump on it, and we'll try to have everybody back in here as we get into the hottest part of the day. I mean that's just what we're doing with it, and that's how we're going to try to protect everybody and keep everybody safe. We're going to live to go another day. That's it. That's what our plan is here. And just curious what you guys may be into today. We in this week too. Are you trying to get a work a little ahead? I know today we're doing a little bit of mowing and quite a bit of landscape work today. Trying to get as many people completed by tomorrow afternoon when we call it a weekend around here at WLS, and but trying to make a few more people happy, right? That's what it's all about. So that's what we're doing. Our jackal made its way out today on its maiden voyage. Obviously, we've used it before, but or used one before. But today we got the opportunity to put it out on its maiden voyage out into the field, doing some work, and that's what we got it for. So, and I'm sure that our team will appreciate the fact that they're not quite as much wheelbarrow work to be had this in this heat, So that arrived just on time. So, good morning, Russell. Glad you're here with us, buddy. A whole lot of AC is absolutely the right answer, and a lot of Powerade, Gatorade, whatever kind of aid our guys need is what they're going to get, and plenty of water too, and hopefully we get through this. I think our heat indexes are saying is maybe going to be around 105 to 110, and that's not normal. I mean, it's not normal to be that high. So we'll see. Um, contemplating. Yay. All right. Mike Murphy, glad to have you with us, buddy. Mike said, let him know how it fits in. He's got a compact tractor and he's thinking about selling it and getting a jackal. So yeah, we'll certainly keep everybody posted on it, but we're looking forward to a good run with it and how it can help us and help our company be more efficient and increase our productivity out there in the field. So, but yeah, we'll certainly keep you guys informed on that. Seth, appreciate you listening. We got a great show planned for everybody today. We're going to, I've had several people ask, and some of you guys know this, but several people ask about, Wayne, what's your story per se? So I thought I'd tell that story a little bit today, along with some other things. But we're coming up on our 250th, our country's birthday, right? So I thought, okay, since we're looking at history, let's take and look at some history of WLS as well, and also your all's history. And that's what's going to make it really fun is to hear some of your all's history as well. So feel free to, put it in on our chat and or text me. If you guys want to text, you can text me. That's fine. You can do that at 502-550-8307. Or you can do it on our chat right here in the Profit Circle. So, and again, I don't want this all to be about me, but I'm going to get it started about me here in a couple minutes. But I want to know about you guys too. And, hey, how it got going. And I want to tell about the Heckabus wants to know if we're going to tell the stories about the Revolutionary War. So our landscaping stories about that. So yeah, and how we got in the bunkers and dug our holes and things like that. It was a lot different. It was a whole lot different than it is now. So, uh, but yeah, we're looking for that. I got a funny story. We shared it the other day, I think, but I'm going to share it one more time for some new listeners that we've got. But that Craig sent me out of North Carolina. And it was really funny. It was about a post that somebody put up that said, "Hey, I'm real." Basically, I'm just doing a summary of this, but it's not verbatim. I don't have it in front of me, but basically, this guy says, "Hey, I'm a hard worker. I'm in a lawn landscape. I want to get in the landscape industry, but I need help getting my equipment. I need a mower and a weed eater and a blower and whatnot. And if anybody wants to help me, uh, feel free to help me, and then I'll give you some discounts along the way." So uh, I thought that kind of fits in with history because, to a certain extent, a lot of us get started not directly that way, but a little bit that way. So we're going to hang on to that story a little bit, but and then we'll talk a little bit more on the whole history of the thing here in a minute. But I had a story that I wanted another story to share with you guys. I always like sharing stories. I mean, it's just cool. But Katie said no. But I want to share a decent story with you all. We had a customer call us yesterday that called us back, wanting to know if we could put them back on. And this particular customer, we had them for 27 years. They started with us in 1996, and in 2023 they called with their Dear John call. Right, this is a residential client. So we had serviced their property almost about 27 years, and they called and said, "Hey, we had a friend that got into the business, a family friend, or one of those scenarios, right?" And we're going to have them do it for us. Well, they called back yesterday and asked if, hey, if we had space in our schedule to take them back on. And Katie obviously told them, yes, we'd be happy to put them back on as a client. And she got, the new contracts and everything emailed to them and signed off and set up and ready to go. They're going to get their first service today from us. And then, but also the neighbor was a bonus this time. The neighbor was coming along with it. So the neighbor called this morning. Actually, they called yesterday, and Katie sent them their information, and they followed up this morning and said, "Yeah, we want to go ahead with your service as well, but start us next week," because the guy that we had did show up yesterday and got the grass cut yesterday for him. So I share that with you because, we talk about marketing all the time and, how, just because somebody leaves doesn't mean they're gone forever. And, there's a good example of that. They were gone, 23, 24, 25, and what part of 26, half of 26, I guess we'll call it. So, but, they stayed on our hit list, number one. So we just wanted to keep our name in front of them. And how many times haven't we talked about that, right? So now they're back again. And quite honestly, I was really surprised yesterday when, Katie told me, I was out on a couple appointments and she said, "Hey, guess who called? You may want to swing by and take a look at this, get a cost on that first service and whatnot." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're still alive," because they were older then, I mean, just not just in 2023, but I mean, they were a little bit older then. So evidently they're still doing okay. Went by the house and looked at the property, and I did notice that they've got a handicap ramp as for access now into their front door. So, but they're still rocking and rolling. And Katie said, very, is cognitively aware the right word, Daniel? Yeah, said he sounded really good, not old. And Katie also had an experience to talk to the daughter as well. So, anyways, just thought I'd share that story with you. So, it's things that we talk about, why we do what we do. And there's a good example of you never know when somebody's going to come back, and hopefully now we've got them for a good length of time. We can provide the level of service that they want. So that's the whole idea, right? Keep people coming back, and just because they leave doesn't mean they're gone forever. So um, Seth says he's officially over summer already. It just started, man. So get used to it a little bit. Anyway, I got a funny story to tell y'all. I don't think I shared this with y'all the other day. We got a customer that a couple times a year she'll come by and get some mulch, bagged mulch, from us, and she came by one day last week, I think it was, and to get 5 bags of grade A cedar mulch is what she was picking up, and so, and she generally comes like on her lunch hour, lunch break, or whatever at work. And, Daniel normally help her put it in her trunk. And, she carries on, and we hear from her in the fall for a few more bags. And so, long story short, though, she came by, but this time she had a guy with her. And I'm not sure if it was a boyfriend, a husband, or what. Uh, do you, Katie, do you have any idea, or Daniel? I don't. It doesn't matter. But anyway, so she's in here paying Katie for the mulch, and the funny part was he walks in, and he says, "Just curious, how much is this?" And Katie, said, told him what the price was, and she already knew, and she's like, "Oh God," not Katie didn't say, "Oh God," uh, our client did, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's expensive." And so we start justifying it and selling the gap, if you will, right, Daniel? Little bit, and she did, and he walked back outside. But before he walked back outside, he's like, man, I can appreciate grade A mulch, good mulch, and all that. He says, but where's the grade E mulch? And how much is that? And without missing a beat, was it Katie or Daniel? Katie said, Thornton's. You can pick that up at Thornton's. And with that, he kind of laughed and turned around and walked back outside. And she's like, I was hoping he didn't come in because he can't appreciate the quality of this mulch and how long it lasts. So I wanted to share that story with y'all because it was just funny. He's like, where's the grade E mulch? So who knows? Where's the grade E mulch? Hey, call it what you want, buy what you want. I had that same conversation with a gentleman yesterday that I was talking to. Um, actually, last night, Katie and I and Kyle went to see one of our landscape lighting clients who actually started the project last fall with their front lighting, and then they had a renovation added to the back of their house, and they added a really nice patio back there, covered patio but open on the sides, really nice. So anyway, we finally got their lighting done. I talked to y'all a little bit about this the other day, but um, we went by last night, and Kyle was going to help the missus set up her app on her phone and everything so they could use them and whatnot. And I forgot how many fixtures it is. I think it'd end up being 34 fixtures is where they're at. So it was quite a few to, you know, for her to get on her phone, and Kyle was doing it for her. Basically, did do it for her, but and then setting up their schemes and themes and things like that you guys understand about lighting. So anyway, she had an Android phone, and it was having a little bit of an issue with the software initially because she had the app on there from back in last fall when we did the front lights. So Kyle reached out to Greg with Cast Lighting, and 10 o'clock last night he's on the phone, you know, and first 3 rings. Yeah, it wasn't like Kyle had to leave a message. And I just want to give Cast Lighting a big shout out this morning. Jeff Hesser and Greg, and I know I'm forgetting somebody else, but that whole entire group uh, is always there to help. So, you guys thinking about landscape lighting, and they got just look at Cast. Look at Cast, the quality of their product, the access. How many times don't we talk about, what builds loyalty, right? It's that relationship. And I'm not talking bad about any other lighting supplier out there. There's a lot of good ones. I'm just saying that how many of them would have answered their phone at 10 o'clock at night, knowing that you wouldn't be calling unless it seriously was an issue. And I can hear, some people saying, well, man, I can't believe you didn't respect their time enough to not call at that hour. And there's times when you call somebody like that, and there's times when you don't. And that was a time for the client because Greg had actually been down to this particular client's house and helped us with some design work on it in the back because of it wasn't complex. It was just, what's a good word? It wasn't a complex issue, but it was like not just the landscape lighting, but we lit up a little storage barn that they have, and we put a light inside a little storage barn for them. And it was just a very diverse application for lighting, and which they couldn't be more happier with. I mean, they both were just, singing the praises of, our guys that put the lights in, and how congenial they were, and, just the conversations and whatnot. So I share that story with you for a lot of different reasons. One is we made the effort, and like I said, we always make the effort of going back at night and helping them, set their apps, readjust any lights that need to be readjusted for them, and make sure they understand how to use their app. Because, somebody invests that kind of money into a system, you want them to use it, you know. So, but I think they're going to use it. They got a few stored themes in there now for, like, Halloween and Christmas and 4th of July and those whole things. So, just know that it's what you do that goes above and beyond the sale. My dad used to always say it's service after the sale that consummates the relationship and creates the loyalty. And that was it. And Mr. Hedges actually said, last night when he said, "Dang, I saw you out there, and I figured you." And he was talking to me. He said, "I saw you out there, and I figured you had to be, the dad or Wayne in this situation." And he said, I appreciate you taking the time to come out here, you know, at night like this. And I said, well, we certainly do appreciate your business and your loyalty that you guys have shown us. So it's the little things that we can do to help, keep things going with all of our customers. And it doesn't have to be a landscape lighting job. It could be any job. It could be mowing. It could be fert and weed. It could be fill in the blank on what it is. Just know that it's the contact after the sell that is really what creates that loyalty. So, with that being said, hey, let's take a short break. As I said, we're getting ready to celebrate our country's 250th birthday. And, excuse me, thought we'd share a little history about WLS. And again, as I'm moving along some of our history, as it's appropriate, you guys shoot me some of your history. Okay. But, you know, I don't know how y'all got in the business, and I'd be curious if you'd post this up. Let us know, let us all know, how'd you get into the business? You know, whether it's landscaping, mowing, fert and weed, whatever it is that you do, how'd you get in? And the way I got in was strictly by accident. In 1979, I was a junior in high school. Like a lot of you guys started your businesses. I know that's how a lot of us got started in this industry. We started either right in high school or right in college, as summer money and whatnot. But I was in high school, and I told my dad at that point in time, 10-speed bikes were really popular. And I told my mom and dad, I said, I'd really love to have a 10-speed bicycle because I didn't have a car, wasn't going to have a car, and just wasn't in a position to do that. I mean, it just wasn't our family wasn't in a position to make that happen. And Dad says, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, I'm not going to buy you a bicycle, but I'll buy you a lawnmower and an electric weed eater. And yes, and that was before, and I'm not talking about battery powered. Just so everybody knows, this was an electric weed eater, and he bought me 200 feet of extension cord. So, and he said, I'll buy you that. And he said, we'll find you some yards to mow. Mostly we're friends of the family, his friends, right? And kind of like that situation on us getting the Skolniks back here. uh, Dad said, hey, my son's going to do a little mowing. So that's how we got started. And that's there's a whole lot of gap in between, 1979 and a 10-speed bicycle. And, Dad's like, you can earn the money to buy your own bike. That way you'll appreciate it a little more. So that's how I got started. And by 1981, I thought I was going big time because I'd started with a 22-inch push mower, an electric weed eater, and a broom, not even a blower. But that's how it got started. 1981, I bought my first self-propelled lawnmower, which was a 32-inch Bunton. And then when I bought that, guess what I had to have? I had to have a trailer. So in college, I had a professor. His name was Joe Franklin. Daniel, you don't like this guy. He was a money guy, investments guy, and it really was. And that was a class I had him with. But he's like, Wayne, he said, I've got an old snowmobile trailer if you'd like to buy it. He said, I'll sell it cheap to you. So I had a 32-inch lawnmower. It was I think it's 9 feet, a 9-foot snowmobile trailer that 32-inch lawnmower went up on it just perfectly. And then I had my 22-inch Murray push mower behind it. And I wish I had pictures of it, but I don't. That's the sad part. So for you guys new in the business or fairly new in the business, take pictures as you go along, because whether you're in business 5 years, 10 years, or 100 years, the history of it's going to be pretty cool. Matter of fact, Kyle just this morning brought me out some business cards. He said, I know we got a history file. He said, look at the transition of our cards, over the years, our business cards. And that was pretty cool to see those, on how they changed. I think I got them right here. Matter of fact, for you guys watching this on video, you can see it. So yeah, we got a little transition on business cards right here.
Very first ones were stenciled into clay tablets.
Yes, the very first ones were no cards at all. Actually, let me tell you a little history that I don't have on my cheat sheet here that I'm going by. Come on, somebody's got to send me some history. Come on, I know you guys are listening. Somebody send me some history on you. But the very first letterhead business cards and invoicing, whatever, actually said Wayne's Lawn Care and Glass Care. Because what we did, my grandmother, who was the typical old lady on Social Security, right? She lived in a retirement home, government housing, if you will, subsidized government housing, and we also cleaned sliding glass windows. We thought, because she always said, man, there's a lot of people up here that can't do their, it was a high rise, so we didn't do the windows outside and all that. But so we called it glass care, lawn care and glass care. Did you ever hear that story, Daniel?
No,
I don't even know that we've got it.
I've heard there's a memory in my brain of you talking about windows before, but I never knew it was actually a part of the business.
We did it was, yeah. We did patio sliding glass doors. And who broke them? No, we didn't fix them. We cleaned them. Chad's like, who broke them? So you didn't hear the beginning of the story. My grandmother lived in Dosker Manor, which is downtown, and it was subsidized housing. So we were trying to figure out, and this time, at that point, Cork wasn't involved. It was me and my brother-in-law, Rick, helped some. So we had nine yards we started with that summer. We ended up with 12 with a 22-inch push mower, 200 feet of electrical cord, and
Broom.
a broom. Yeah, that's how it all got going. So I know some of you guys had to start the same way. So, and then one day I had this idiot come in my office talking about, oh man, you had a silver spoon put in your mouth. Bullshit.
Years later.
Yeah, this was years later. This
Decades
was
later.
like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Guy comes in talking about that. No, dude, I said, man, a 22-inch Pushmore electric weed eater. That's how it all got started. Grew up in an apartment, for Christ's sake, right over here, not a mile and a half from the shop. And so, no, we didn't have shit. That's the reality of it, you know. So, and then you just think, man, you're working your butt off. You're working your butt off. You're working your butt off, and and you do, and that's just the reality of it. But as we move along in this history that I'm giving you guys, and I want to hear some of your all's history, because I think to a big extent, man, we all have a lot of history to what we do. It's like Chad and Jonathan just walked in here. I mean, Jonathan works on a farm, and Chad does, a ton of shit on the side too. I mean, we're all just out there, man. Is how we do it. I mean, you're out there doing it. That's just it. I always say, and I mean this 100%. If it was easy, everybody would do it. You know, um, Mike's got a pretty good thing he just posted up that share with y'all. His parents had a janitorial business, so there's a lot of history that goes into it. So, anyways, when I got that first 32-inch lawnmower, shit, I thought I had something. I thought I had something, man, and it was pretty cool. And then the old snowmobile trailer came along. 1983, I got married. Jane and I got married, and God was nice enough to give me a long time with her, 38 years, 10 months, and 2 days to be exact. And that's what I got other than a whole lot of memories. So um, that's a lot of history with Jane and I too, and 4 kids, um, and a wife that was very understanding. I'll say that. A wife that was very understanding. And I will say this, Daniel, that is very important aspect to success, is having a spouse or significant other or whatever, you know, to help to go along with that whole concept of, hey man, working, I don't know how to really say it, but it's and more than once my mom and dad saved me. I'll say that too. I'll put that out there since we're on full disclosure, Daniel. Uh, just there was a lot of times in the winter I had to go ask my mom and dad to borrow money to get through. You know, and hell, I mean, it happens. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, it ain't that you don't care, you don't have pride, and you don't mind working, but man, you just do it. And um, I did it. And they were always there to help me, because number one, I always paid them back. But there was times when I needed a little help. And that's that. In 1987 is when I actually start doing this full time. Um, it was really cool. I got from 83 to 87, I was doing it at night like a lot of you guys do it. John says his mom gave him $500 when he started in 1983. The deal was I always had to mow her lawn. Oh my God, that's a good story too. Absolutely, John. I appreciate that info. Come on, I know some of you other guys got some stories with this as well. But I'm getting ready to tell you guys it's not a success story, but between 1983 and 1987, I put myself almost $90,000 in debt as a 2-truck operation, thinking we needed more work, and that obviously was not working. And I realized that I had to do something else, and I just had to put myself through the pain of change. And I want to share that with you guys because a lot of times that's what it requires us to all do is look at something and say, hey, how can we do it? How are we going to make that change? And what are you willing to do to make that change? And one thing that I decided to do in 1988 is when we started. We decided we were going to offer snow and ice. We were going to start doing snow plowing, and that started for our customers. And the crazy thing about that is we thought we had a good thing going on, but we weren't doing nearly enough de-icing. We were doing zero de-icing. So the young kid Wayne says, "Hey, I'm gonna plow snow in a market that gets 15 inches a year, and think I'm going to make money at it on average." We weren't doing any salting, any de-icing. You know, we were passing that along to somebody else because we didn't want to do it. We were scared to do it. We didn't have the knowledge of ice melters and why to use magnesium chloride or calcium chloride and or different products. We're not getting into that today, but the reality of it was 1994 is when we woke up to how to do snow right. And that was after we had 20 inches of snow in about 7 hours. And that was a hell of a mess. It was my brother. I'm trying to think. Corky came in. My brother came in 1989 full time with us. And it was me and him. We had two trucks, two plows, um, 20 inches of snow in about 6-7 hours, and 54 accounts. And they were all commercial accounts. They weren't huge, but it took us about a week, a little over a week, to get around to those accounts, which was really fine. It wasn't fine. I don't want any hate mail on this, but I mean, it wasn't fine, but it was fine because our city got shut down. I mean, UPS had just come into Louisville at that point. Our interstate system got shut down, and they're like, if this ever happens again, we're leaving. And so not only did our city change the whole way they do snow in 94, we changed the way we do snow. And that's when in 1990 we decided to move along in a lot different way than what we were set up to prior to 1990. And that was getting rid of some work. We had too much work, not enough resources, and we added resources, added people, and things moved along pretty good. My dad joined us in 1990, and he retired from his regular. Not that we got irregular, but he retired from his regular job on a Friday. And at his retirement party, he said, "Hey, you mind if I come over and answer your phone Monday for you guys?" And he answered our phone from 1990 to 2017 when he passed away. So, but in between there, uh, a lot of good things started taking place. And when my dad came to work with us, um, he came in, and this is something I don't share with too many people, but I'm going to share it with you guys. Um, when he retired and came in here every day, I felt bad about it for my mom, you know, because it's kind of like she had waited for that day too for him to retire. And he literally didn't take a week off from the time he retired. His party was Friday night. I never forget. No, she never said a word about it. Yeah, well, that's true too. It might have worked out good, Chad said maybe that's the way she wanted it. And I'd be kind of like Bill Engvall, right? When he retired, him and his wife didn't know what the hell. They couldn't get along. He had to go back to work. But so I don't know. That's the only regret I got about that, is not knowing if she felt like she got cheated out of that time. So yeah, yeah. And that's the other side. So, you hear all kinds of weird stories. You, you, yeah, yeah. God, Jesus. Chad, you're good on what you're doing, right? Jonathan? Okay. Get a load of topsoil and a bale of straw and go to that job. He's got your stuff. But you need topsoil and a bale of straw. All right. So in 1990, let's see. Seth said, my parents were a big influence on him. Plenty of practice doing all phases of yard work. One of his favorites, not by looks, was a small retaining wall job that his dad helped him with before he passed away. That's cool. Isn't it neat how you got good memories like that? I hope you all meaning Daniel, Katie, Kyle. I hope y'all got some. Katie, Daniel's not saying anything. Oh my God. Seth, I appreciate you sharing that story. 1990, though, by 1990s when my dad came in and we were starting to get things squared away and changed from our not understanding the business side of our business the way we should, and that's when we started Profits Unlimited, and that took off. And we our very first seminar that we did was right here in our own shop that we rented. We moved in 1989. We rented our first office, and then 1990 we rented our current place that we're in, and then we bought the place next door in 2015. So we kind of got like a horseshoe. It's like we got our building, a couple buildings that aren't ours, and then another our building in this horseshoe loop here where our yard and all's at. But man, when we got almost 4,000 square feet covered up, I think 3,800 square feet's what's under roof here. That man, Daniel, I thought that was a cat's meow, and it still is nice to have covered space. We got a lot more uncovered space, but anyways,
like the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah, going back in history, right? So yeah, so that's cool. We really love that. And my dad's like, y'all got things going on pretty good here. He said, we should help other guys understand the cost side of their business, because that's what really almost put us out of business. That's what created our debt load. That's what created all the problems we had. Is we were working hard but not smart. And Dad's like, we got a good message to share. Once we figured out what was broke, and what was broke with Wayne's Lawn Service was our pricing methodology. We were trying to do it like everybody else. And my dad's like, if you want to find out if it's really good, present it to your direct competitor first. And I'm like, oh my God, why we want to help our direct competitors? And it was funny. The first few seminars we did were right here in our shop. We cleaned it out in the wintertime, dressed it up, put lipstick on a pig, if you will, and had a nice little area back there. My buddy Ben Briscoe, who at that point was with a company called Louisville Tractor, and Ben was one of our biggest advocates of what we were doing. Ben was a salesperson, a great salesperson. We're still friends to this day, and he's retired. But and he's like, no, I think you got a great idea. Well, hell, and this goes back to 1990 when we did this. We set down a pretty nice group of contractors in here. I think we had 40 of our direct competitors. 39, I think, was the actual number. 39 contractors of our direct competitors right here from our own market that came to hear what we had to say. And it grew from there. And then my dad's like, well, yeah, I figured this would work. We need to take this more to a national level. And we did, and was fortunate enough since 1990, to present in the Canada and United States. And I got a little map here in front of me I'm looking at. You guys can't see it. Well, yeah, you can if I hold it up there. The blue is everywhere that we've been, So we've been to 34 states, 2 countries, and we've sold our product in Europe as well. So we know what we got, and what we have available is good. In 1992 is when we diversified into offering fertilization and weed control. 2002, we got some nice recognition. I'm not patting myself on the back. I just want you guys to know our history a little bit, or a lot of it, really. We got rated as a top 10 small company nationally by Landscape Management Magazine. So that was pretty cool. They did a nice little article on us, and then we had the opportunity to buy the article and some plaques. Uh, when that kind of them, Daniel.
There you go. Good model.
Yeah, good model, man. Uh, but it made me feel good, and really, when I say it made me feel good, it made me feel good from the standpoint of I knew how I had assembled a good team up to that point, that we were able to accomplish, that national recognition like that. Kyle came on board in 2003 full time, and Kyle was only here a year when he saw that we need to do more landscaping. He said this mowing is okay. He said, but I think we can do better if we do more landscaping. John said his father-in-law said he should quit his hobby, and yeah, his dad. He says my dad told me I'd never make it. Said I need $10,000 to survive. His father-in-law said you should quit my hobby. I hear you, man. It's the non-believers that we run into, isn't it? I mean, it really is something. And the reality of it is, you've got to believe in yourself first. And sometimes you got to know that you got to be willing to make some changes, that pain of change thing that I talked about, right? But Kyle saw right away that we needed to do more landscaping work, and thank God we did. That was 2004 and what Kyle actually did, he went to work for one of the nurseries here on Saturdays just for free to go learn plant material quickly, and he went, and Bill Bergman, I never will forget him for supporting that. I mean, yeah, it was free labor, but I asked him if Kyle that was what he wanted to do. And Bill Bergman was an old Chemlon guy, for you guys that have been in the industry a long time. But he was running a local nursery here now when he retired from Chemlon. And he said, yeah, I'd love to have him. And Kyle went out there and learned plants. And he said, hey, Kyle's idea was, hey, Dad, if I go out there, I'm gonna see a lot of plants, a lot of companies that are buying them, and I learn it fast that way. So that did, it worked really well. Then 2008, the recession hit, and that's when we were really glad that we were diversified. In 2011, we rebranded from Wayne's Lawn Service to WLS, because what we were finding from people is when they were looking at our trucks that said Wayne's Lawn Service, they were strictly thinking we were mowing predominantly. Some went down the road of, yeah, they do lawn apps, but nobody was thinking about landscaping, hardscaping, the things that we were diversifying in at that point to try to generate more profit dollars is what it amounted to. So that's when in 2011, we rebranded, and that's been going well ever since. And we're glad we did that rebranding. A lot of our older customers still know us as Wayne's Lawn Service, but all of our trucks and everything has been converted since that time frame to WLS, and it has helped us. And that was another great idea that Kyle had. Daniel came on in 2018 with us full time, and he takes care of all of our social media stuff with what Profits Unlimited, and helps with some of the lawn service stuff. Katie does 99% of our lawn service stuff, and Daniel's always there for the input on that. And then 2022, Katie came in full time, right? Katie, wasn't it 22? I was trying to think of that this morning. I think it was after COVID, and it was the year Mom passed away, right? It was that summer you didn't return back to teaching. No, 2022.
22, yeah.
22. Mom passed away August 24th, 2022. So, yeah. So, and that was a significant impact on us when Katie came to work full time for us. She really has been a great asset for the company, and just able to organize and do everything. I'm not going to say one, two, three, or five things that she's done. And come on, you guys out there listening, other than John, come on, and Seth. I know you guys have got some stories to tell. Share some stories with us. But that's when Katie came on, and then we started the Profit Circle in November of 2022. Um, After the expo, we went out to the expo and collected names and email addresses, and that's how we started the Profit Circle. And actually, it was John's son that here with us today that actually won our $1,000 giveaway out there. Hey, and that's funny. We were giving away $1,000 for guys just to sign up. Just to reach out to us and let us know that no, it was okay to put them on a list, if you will. So that's how we got the list you want to be on. Yeah, it's not a hit list; it's a good list. It's like Santa's list. But and when we look back on it and you say, hey, how did we go from 9 accounts in 1979 to where we're at today? It's good people's what it really amounts to, and I really do want to attribute it to not just me, not just family members, but team members that care about what they do. And it gave me the ability to look at it and say, hey, what I can't do it all on my own. And in order to scale my business, I'm going to need some good help. And if I want to retain good help, I've got to be able to pay them well, give them some benefits, and give them a reason to stay. And our average tenure here is 17.2 years, and Derek, our longest tenured employee, is 36 years with us, and then all the way down to our new guys recently hired this year. So, but we've really been fortunate to have really good teams surrounding us. Generally, we've had some um, really bad. John said, and his son didn't share any of it. Oh, Seth said he got his first business license in 2015. Ironically, that was the year his dad passed away. He did it part time while doing maintenance at the local hospital. 2018, he took the plunge and he hasn't looked back. So Seth's been on his own since 2018. That's cool. I mean, hey, you're beating the odds, Seth. And I mean, you look at it now that you're 8 years in, and yeah, doing very good, man. Keep it up. Keep it up. I love hearing y'all's stories, man. I'm sharing mine with you guys, but I love hearing yours as well. I think one of the hardest things that I had to learn when it came to employees is that you not only treat them with respect and appreciate what they do and give them a reason to stay and all those things, but also I want to say this about employees, and we'll wrap this thing up. But you can't baby them. And what I mean by that is you don't need to be picking people up for work. Okay, I tried that. That doesn't work. We've talked about that for a while. You don't need to be a loan officer, you know. And again, I did that way too long. In other words, hey man, can I get $100, or can I get this, or can I get that? And you don't mind doing it for some, if you will. But the reality of it is, when somebody comes in and the first thing they need to do is borrow money, you may reconsider the hire. I'm not saying that's always the case, but that certainly can be it. You know, it can be a problem. But so don't be a cab driver, don't be a loan officer, but treat them with respect. Give them a reason to stay. Make sure you got payroll covered. That's the reality of it. And there were times when I never missed a payroll period for our employees. But I can tell you this, Wayne Vose certainly missed a lot of pay periods. Until we decided we were going to do something different, better than the way our competitors were doing it. And I think that's something too that is what I call pick. You got to pick a new lane. You got pick a lane, man. And that's how you progress along with your business. That's how you scale your business. It's respect, it's pride. I had a conversation last night with a gentleman that we went over to talk to about pride. He said, Wayne, he said, in all the years you've been in business, what's one of the biggest things that you've learned? And I said, this is going to sound silly to you, Mr. Hedges. I says, but it took me a long time to realize, and I said, it's on our website, that regardless, we got to have pride in what we do. And I said, we use the acronym professional results and daily efforts. And he said, yeah, I saw that on your website. He said, I like that. He's like, but I didn't know, where it came from, what the origin was. And I said, it came from people a lot of times don't have respect for our industry. And therefore, I think we as business owners don't have respect for ourselves in the industry. And there's some out there that disagree with that. And that's okay. I'm just sharing my experience. But my experience said, hey, be proud of what you're doing. Don't sit back and be ashamed to tell somebody you're a lawn guy, or I work, I own a landscaping business, or I work in the landscaping field, or, hey, the only reason we're not proud of it is because we've lost focus of what the main goal is, and that is the purpose of the business, to make a profit. So yeah, if you're out there struggling constantly, and there's always this going on and that going on, and there's a million things we could discuss, but that make you have a lack of pride, and maybe that's something we talk about on another show. But the reality of it is, you've got to have pride first in what you're doing, and then that needs to be downhill. That needs to go downhill to everybody. And as crazy as this may sound, and I'll wrap it up with this, you would think that the bigger your company gets, the easier it is to have pride in what you're doing. But it can be a little more challenging, and was for me, to have that pride factor roll downhill with all of our employees, because what I found is a lot of them had that similar mindset that, I don't, I'm doing this because I have to. Well, no, I don't want anybody working with us that says I'm doing this because I have to. We want people that are doing this because they want to. Have pride in what you're doing. You'll be compensated professionally. You'll be treated professionally. And that goes a long way toward everybody's future success and growth. And talking about growth, that's the model, right? Growth and scaling your company. But growth can be professional development growth. It doesn't have to be more jobs, more cash flow. What can we do to professionally develop our companies into something more successful and more profitable, without that growth being anticipated as just dollar volume? And we actually got a video coming out on that. Seth says, here's a quick funny story. Hired an employee one year. His mom worked at the hospital, and I knew her and was able to ask about her son. He was so bad that I wrote down the wrong name when I went to pay him. He lasted a day. I can believe it, man. We've had those same issues, Seth. Oh my God. And some of them don't even last a day. I know Cork, my brother, he was bad at telling guys just walk. They'd say, take me back to the shop. No, we're not wasting the time taking you back to the shop. You can just walk from here or call somebody, do what you need to do. But anyways, hey, that's a brief summary of our history. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to it. I appreciate you sharing your stories, and appreciate more than anything you guys being involved with us here in the Profit Circle and listen to us here on Profit Time. Be sure to share it with your friends. Share it on social medias. We certainly appreciate that. And hey, we'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Stay safe. Drink plenty of Gatorade or electrolytes, right, Daniel? So
Yep.
keep yourself. Hecapus says good 3-to-1 ratio. So let's go with 3-to-1 ratio from somebody who spent a lot of time in the heat overseas. So and then we all spend a lot of time in the heat, but hey, heat and pressure of that battle something different too. So stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, eat well. Know that we appreciate each and every one of you guys. Have a great day. And remember, profit is not a dirty word. We'll see you next time.